Hello, we are here for the video blog post of Humanity in Action in Lyon, France, and today we are featuring Etienne, who is covering June 4th. Etienne, can you start by giving the viewer a background of what happened today?
Well, today we had a very interesting conversation on the issues of liberation as it pertains to slavery. That was the beginning topic, and then we also discussed intensively about the issues of colonialism and Algiers, especially the Battle of Algiers for independence, and how these legacies, both legacies, affect France today. As for reparation, the speaker made a very strong case for why reparations are necessary today, as well as addressed the main objections that people raise against reparations. With regards to the issue of Algiers, we had two speakers, one who is actually a veteran of the Algiers War, who gave us a personal account of the very horrible and monstrous atrocities that were committed during this period.
Thank you so much for that good overview. I think we all, as a collective group, really appreciated the fact that we had a speaker who was very much involved in the war, coming from the French side, and kind of giving us his perspective on it. So now I would like to ask for your individual opinion about the idea of reparation. What do you think about it?
Well, I think that, every society has skeletons in the closet. Yet every society has to make an effort to address history, no matter how difficult. I mean, people often use the analogy of a wound on how, if you want to heal a wound, you actually sometimes need to dissect it further in order to actually heal it. So this is a very difficult and highly contentious issue I feel, among the French society, and certainly not just the French society, but even the United States as well. But I think that there is need to understand where, minorities, especially descendants of slaves, are coming from, and the need to be, empathetic and humble and see their point of view, and for society actually to make a bold move of trying to accommodate some of their requests.
Okay, so to follow up on that, I would like to ask you, what do you think, as your opinion, the first step we should take to, in terms of reparation?
Well, I mean, I think that different societies will certainly have different reactions to this issue. I feel like in the United States, society is a little bit ahead of in terms of this situation, in the sense that there is debate on the issue. So I certainly feel like, the first step of solving any problem is certainly recognizing that the problem existed. And then after that, then there can be debate on society, especially really what is critical really is to listen to, the descendants of these people and trying to understand what they want and what they feel society should do on behalf of these terrible atrocities.
Right. So I think one of my last questions I have to you then is something you just touched on, the idea of this happened a while ago, this happened a certain time ago, and now today only the descendants of these people exist. So the question was posed today by a member of the group: which do you think takes precedence? Do you think we should look at it as one matters more than the other, as equal relevance, or how do you juggle the two, that there was a history and there's a relevance today?
Well, I mean, I think the key thing here is to understand that our past history has consequences for the life that we live today.
Very much so.
History is not just in museums, but it is very relevant in our day-to-day life. I think the author emphasized the point that, privilege carries over. And so the fact that, most cities, Europe and the United States for that matter, were built, from the sweat of slaves. And this means that, we've carried over the privilege. So if we've carried over the privilege, then we have to carry over the responsibility. And obviously this is a tough issue, but I think there's a clear case to be made that there is a case of wrongdoing, and that responsible societies need to find a way of addressing this.
All right, so I guess my last question to you
Sure.
then is, who do you think should be the most considered in this front for, because a lot of people are saying, you know, we need to progress as one community, we cannot separate as separate entities, as
Sure.
separate groups, and so with that rhetoric, what do you think, who do you think needs, which group's necessities, do you think that one group's necessities should be the priority, or do you think everyone should be seen as a collective and try to move forward at once?
Well, I think that we have a clear case where, victims are easy to identify, and we have a case where an atrocity has been committed. But on a broader level, at least my hope is that, the issue is treated from a conciliatory perspective,
Okay.
so that people don't see it as an issue that has to divide society. I think it can be something that brings people together to feel that we have a responsibility of our past together, and this can have a very strong unifying factor. So it doesn't necessarily have to be divisive. For society to take the burden of saying, look, a certain portion, a group of us or part of us has been discriminated for many years,
Yes.
but we need to do something about it. I think that is a strong reconciliation gesture that will not only unify the society, but that will also redefine the place of minorities, and in this case especially blacks, in Western societies.
All right. So to end this note on not we have the answer, what is one main question you would pose for the audience, for our group, Humanity in Action in Lyon, Humanity in Action in general, and also society overall? What do you think is one general question you would pose?
Well, I think the question that I have in my mind, really, and of course I come to this from the perspective of who I am. I think one of the underlying questions really is why is it difficult for, or why a society is so reluctant to accept a painful past that they in one or another participated in.
Okay. So to sum up, I guess and then correct me if I'm wrong, your last question is, why is it so difficult? Why is our society, both government, both people, both education, both just citizens in general, are very hesitant, reluctant to confront the maybe painful past of the country's actions?
Oh, indeed. I feel like, the speaker was very clear about the many precedents that we have in history of both reparations, and, this applies to Western societies. So this is certainly not the first time that such a case has been made, or such an issue. Also, that we know that, Western societies have progressed a lot since Second World War in issues of human rights. So the question that continues to define my mind, as you emphasize, is, why are we so reluctant to addressing this racial question, especially in the context of blacks of slave ancestry?
All right. Well, thank you so much, Etienne, for sharing your opinions with us. I think they're very valid. And thank you for anyone who is viewing this today. I think this is a very challenging conversation. It has been ongoing for a very long period of time, and it's ongoing with our group. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.